to us.
Cool. You can see my screen, guys, can you? Yeah.
Yes, mate.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Cool. So were many of you trading yesterday?
Yes.
Yeah.
I did. I went short on Nasdaq.
Yeah.
And Wall Street just at about, I think about 7:30 when it was 100 pips in up, and I think I went short all the way to the close, and then I closed.
I took a short up here as well on Nasdaq. Went to the level and then I re-entered down here. But yeah, me and you were just saying there, like there was some, if you take a look here, like you can see there was positive news. So DAX came out with GfK consumer confidence coming up, but if you actually take a look at what happened on the DAX, 20 ticks up and it's just come back down. Just in case any of you don't know, if you don't use key market levels, my black lines here on the DAX and FTSE are just like major support and resistance lines just on the daily and 4 hour. And then the blue line, if you're using market profile, is just it's just yesterday's POC, just for reference there. So given the good news for DAX and it's still coming down, like I wouldn't go in with any bias, but we might be looking at selling going into the opening. Just in terms of the fundamentals as well today, if I load up the so it's a very busy day. We've like 10 bankers speaking. Bank of England, we've Governor Bailey coming out 3 times, I think. There's, yeah, so you can take a look there. It's going to be a busy day, and as well, like Thursdays in general are going to be the busiest. But it will be interesting to see what happens just when you look at like the tech sell-off and stuff and see does it drag over into the indices. Because in the FTSE last night, like we had the selling off, but it's bounced back up over kind of 30 ticks overnight, whereas the Nasdaq dropped another 100. So just be interesting to see now going into the open. So in terms of another few minutes anyway. Just while we have a few minutes, I'll actually just show you I mapped out like trades I've taken on the FTSE over the last week, just to give you an idea of like how I trade. And just they're all the ones at market open as well. So if we load in here from Tuesday last week, so we can see we had a key market level here. Price came up. If you don't know what a false break is, it's just when price breaks above the level, but it can't stay there and it comes back down again. So we had at 8 o'clock with price break above the level, came back down, so took a short, put my stop loss just above there and taking 3-to-1 risk to reward. That was my morning trade on the FTSE last Wednesday. Last Thursday, same thing again here. We had this key level. Price comes in at the opening, wicks down below it, false breaks and comes back up. Stop loss down below, 3-to-1. Coming over again, you can see here at 8 a.m. there was a hammer. There was no clear price action, so I didn't take any trade. But we did have some selling coming down, and then came down to that key market level, and we had the false break back up. So just as a reference on the FTSE, and the DAX on screen, yeah. So we have a key market level here at 6694, and on the DAX, we're not really near a key market level, but we might see some selling coming straight in at the market open, or we could see some buying coming up towards this market level, and then we might potentially take a short down. So yeah, just going back to the other trades here. So you can see there at 8 o'clock on, when was this? I think this is Tuesday. We had some really obvious selling coming into the open. So shorted that, and you can see here we had this key market level, price comes down, starts rejecting, and then breaks back up above that level, and I took a long going back up. Same thing again here. So 8 a.m. This is yesterday. No, day before yesterday. So we had a bit of buying coming in on the open, and that was when the DAX was selling off. And then you had that selling coming down, breaking just below that level, and then I took the long trade going back up again. So it will be interesting to see. And this was yesterday, was it? Yeah, didn't touch it yesterday. We selling coming in straight away, it comes back up. And I didn't touch that. So coming back to here, so you can just see a bit of selling coming in now in the FTSE and the DAX just coming into the open. What are most people trading? Are people trading FTSE or DAX, or do you trade both?
I trade DAX. FTSE haven't been trading much now.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, same. I trade DAX.
Nice.
What's you have to have the little scalps?
Yeah. Do you all trade on the 5 minute, or do any of you use the 1 minute?
Five.
No, I use 5 minutes and 15 minutes, but not one.
Cool.
On the morning scalp, is there a benefit to using the 1 minute so that you can see the price action a bit clearer, or is it just as effective to use the 5 minute?
I think if you're looking like for initially the first minute or two, I like looking at the 1 minute, but I wouldn't rely on it because sometimes like price action might be a small bit messy on the 1 minute, and then on the 5 minute you just have open to close, straight down buying or straight down selling. When I'm trading the false breaks personally, I use the 1 minute just because you can see those like tiny wick rejections. But I'll never, like I wouldn't recommend trading it just because there's too much going on. And you can see one thing and think it's another. So I recommend just using the 5 minute, but just for trading the false breaks, I just use the 1 minute for entering.
Okay.
Especially sometimes you might see like you might think it's a potential reversal on the 1 minute, and then if you zoom out to the 15 minute, like you'd be nuts to be changing your bias. Yeah, so we saw another 2 minutes there coming out into the open, and we can just see small bit of selling on the FTSE. DAX coming in about 3 ticks, despite the you can see that pop up there was just from the consumer confidence news, but hasn't really had much of an effect. I mean, another 10 ticks down below. Just in case any of you just joined in there, just to quickly go back over before the open. So Thursday, busiest day, and we have a lot going on there. If you look at the calendar, or if you use this one here on Trading Aid, so it's about 10 bankers speaking, Bailey speaking a couple of times, Lagarde's coming out at 9:30. Bank of Japan, just something to watch there if you saw it in the discussion group last night. With American GDP quarter on quarter coming out, jobless claims, and just Fed, FOMC. So there's a lot coming out today, and just in case any of you weren't trading yesterday, just before we open there in tech anyway, might do sell off yesterday. Looking at over like 350 ticks, and the indices did follow after. And if you were in the discussion group last night, if you read the correlation between the DXY, dollar strength index, and indices, and the dollar's going up, so just something that keep for indices today. Yeah, so just coming a minute now left into the open, we're seeing selling on both on that. Just as well, this blue line here, they're just yesterday's PLCs. If you use it, so you can see very obvious selling there coming in for the DAX now. Same as the FTSE, straight on, easy. So you can see it reacted now to yesterday's PLC on the FTSE. Yeah, breaking through with relative. It's very clear trade on the DAX. Now personally, if looking at how you run your scalps, I use these key market levels as my areas. So if I was taking a short at the open, I'd be taking my profit at around 530, just in case you do get that false break set up where it comes up and retraces back up. FTSE, you can see it's kind of similar to yesterday. You're only about 5 ticks down. and it's reacting there to yesterday's POC. DAX kind of looks like the easier trade.
Yeah, that definitely was the play, I think.
Yeah,
DAX definitely
I'd be looking.
was quite clear there.
Yeah, if you're scalping, I'd be potentially looking to hold it down to 531. So that would be about a 26 tick.
Yeah.
Not as clear as yesterday, but it's still a sell, isn't it? Yeah.
If you look on the 1 minute charts, it was quite clear from 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Good 20 ticks. Take that for the morning.
Yeah. See, sometimes if you're looking at the 1 minute, the candle comes in. If you're looking at the 1 minute and you see such a strong rejection wick, sometimes you might be tempted to get out of the trade just in case.
Yeah.
And then you're only looking at a 5 tick. But like here, you can see the wick rejecting in, FTSE's coming back up. So yeah, yes, it was definitely clearer. And you can see on the 5 minute there the size of that wick.
Quick. Yeah, we also got Lagarde up, haven't we, at 9 o'clock, so I think that's bearing in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday was fairly emphatic. Unfortunately, you've got the hard one today.
Yeah.
I'm quite happy with that.
It is what it is. Like, it's never going to be perfect every day.
Well, I think it's right. I think sometimes, like you said, it's when you're wrong and on the scalp, you get out straight away and think, as Bianca said, maybe 10 ticks is all you could get there, or 20 maximum, but then you're done.
Yeah. So another thing I look at on the open is I look at the shares that make up the DAX. I don't really look at FTSE, but I do look at the shares and the changes in the price as well to help me make a decision at the open. So I do keep that open on one screen, which is quite useful.
You can see the DAX straight into that 531.
Yeah, for the DAX.
And we'll see how it reacts now. I would take.
Well, she was pretty clever, but she's
Fairly emphatic selling there. Yeah.
got a lot better.
We'll see how it reacts now.
Well, I think in the theory, like you said, Max, you go on the market profile theory, you're still short, aren't you? If you're trading with your 20 tick stop from the 8 o'clock. But however, if you were scalping, we would probably have stopped ourselves out or taken a very small profit.
You can see there, FTSE's broken down below yesterday's POC as well. DAX is below yesterday's POC. And if you look at today's, so POC is 563. So it should definitely be short. And same on FTSE if you look at today's 652. So we're yesterday's and the day before's POC. Hang on.
Good 4 minutes, really.
Yeah.
I mean, the first again, I think the first minute was quite hard, and then it got stuck, and then obviously you had that little push down, like you said, probably round about the value low as such. Yeah,
Neil, I took your advice today. I did one.
But you woke up early.
And I actually slept in a bit today. I did one trade at the open short, and I did one scalp. So I'm letting my trade run from 14,570 on the dot.
I think it's quite a good call, and I know I spoke to Matt about it and a few others on the one-to-ones that we're trying to get so many people to do multiples. I don't know what you think, Matt. Is that you do one-on-one, it allows you to take something off the table, and that's when we turn around. And obviously, probably with you, when you had your massive 400 tick profit in the Nasdaq, you probably had to dilute some of that. I take it.
Yeah.
It's so important to have these multiples, because if you seriously think people put a trade on and run it to 150 ticks, 200 ticks, that's extremely rare.
Yeah. You can see there on the DAX, we had a perfect false break at that 530 level. So came down, wick below, and came straight back up. And now, depends on how it wants to go. It could slam back down or it could come back up. But I find the key market levels as profit targets are really, really handy. If the news wasn't as bearish, I would take a false break trade coming back up. And an actual trade, not a scalp. But just because the general sentiment is fairly bearish, I wouldn't be taking the false break back up. But you can already see if you had, you'd be 25 ticks on side again. But yeah, I find the key market levels at opening, when price is near them, they're really, really handy for just setting profit targets. You can see slams down from 8 o'clock. I know it was a bit hard around here, but comes down and then straight away just gets rejected. Same on the FTSE over here. You had that. Oh, nice. You had the big wick down below that. Yesterday's POC retested POC and it's come back up again.
You were bang on the POC now, aren't we? Yeah, that's held at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
So,
call. Yeah.
Be interesting to see what happens later in the day when this is after dying on me here. But yeah, so you can see there, yeah, it's still battling it out.
It's weird how really, I mean, as much as I keep shouting its praises, but like you said just before, the POC being at 14,563, the high a minute ago was 14,563. I mean, it's weird, yeah. And I said, in theory, as we say to other people, you know, we're bearish below it and bullish above it. And, you know, in theory, where would you put, if you're short, where would we put a stop in the DAX? What, 14.5, 6.7, 6.9?
If I can't see my mouse there, I'd probably be putting about 5.772 maybe.
Yeah, I'll go with that, yeah. But it's weird how, like you said, you called the POC and it came down, and yet we haven't broken the POC on the way back up. And when it got up there a minute ago, it looked fairly strong. And again, that's probably why we hover around that POC. If we look at the yesterday's print as well, be fairly interesting, especially when you think we've got Lagarde up at what time? 53 minutes time.
Yeah,
Not long. That's good, Matt. Do you want to finish it there? Or do you want to carry on for another 5 minutes?
if anyone has any questions or anything, belt away. If not, then I'm happy out. So I can
Just a little one for
Yeah.
you, sir. It's the resistance lines at the top and the bottom. I understand the POC one.
Yeah.
Do you do any research to get them, or is it just something you can search?
1 second there now. My mouse is after going jammy on me. If I try bring 1 second there now. Basically I use, so like if you look, you know, like just from basics of technical analysis, you just have like support and resistance, like that's just the first thing you learn. But like what you can end up doing is just like, you know, every single time you see a price rejection or something, you're like, oh, there must be support there, or a resistance, or a supply or demand, and then you just end up with about like 500 million zones on your chart, and everything gets all confusing, and you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
What I do is I go onto the daily. Oh, here we go. So I go onto the daily on the 4-hour chart and nothing else, and I just look for really strong areas. So if we look here on say Nasdaq, or I'll go onto DAX for example. So if I go onto the daily chart there, get rid of that and zoom in. So you can just see here on the daily chart. So recently now it's been a bit harder because there hasn't been too much data to find like proper hard key levels. But if you look here, you can see price comes up with like false breaks above this level with a touch, false break, big break. Down here we have a touch, false break, touch, false break, big false break, breaks down, and then this whole thing is a false break. So what I'm looking for is I'm just looking for these like really strong key levels.
Yeah.
If I go by replay, say this one, or I'll go recently here on the March 23rd. So if you go on to like the 5-minute time frame, and if I just click play now, so it's just overnight and screw that up there.
Yeah.
So,
See it there, can't you? Clear as day.
yeah, 8 o'clock on the open. We have price comes in, it slams down into this 14,527, and it immediately gets rejected, and then it comes back up above these levels. And if you just look at like how price reacts during the day, So you can see it comes up towards this level and falls, or this one ends up being a, let's see now. So you can see price comes up, tries to test this level, can't find support and breaks back down again. So even though like my main kind of trading system is trading false breaks, so like these are the type of things I'm looking for. Like price comes up, immediately pulls back down, price comes up, pulls back down. They're like the kind of like perfect trades I'm looking for. It's basically like the basics of supply and resistance, like or support and resistance. Sorry, at support people buy, at resistance people sell, and it's just that like if you think of like what's going on is that like if people are long, their stop losses are going to be down here.
Yeah.
If you were John, if you were say you were long, your stop loss will be down here. So what happens is that you have people buying, here. Anyway, because it's at support, and then when price breaks down and comes down here, a lot of like new traders who like might be confused but say, okay, it's breaking down, I'm going to go short, and they put their stop loss up here. So you have people anyway who are buying here, and then you have people who would be going short here, and their stop loss will be here. So what happens is that price comes down to that level. You have people who buy it anyway, and then in order to close your short position, you buy it back. Do you know what I mean? So if someone and their stop loss gets activated, then it's a buy. So what happens is if a load of people buying at support and a load of people stop loss is getting triggered. So what you're looking for is you're looking for those proper like big impulses that go back in the other direction. So you can see there like that open price came down to that level about 80 ticks, and then immediately it's rejected, came back up and had a 160 range back up again. So that's, I literally just go on and I'm just looking for places on the like, oh, now it's just going in. But yeah, I'm just looking for like areas, like I'm just drawing them out myself, and I'm just looking for places where I see like really strong rejections on like the daily and the 1 hour chart. I don't really use any time frame that's smaller than that, just because then it's not as strong. But like if you see like a daily key level, like my mouse would work, but you can see here like price rejection, like rejecting, and then up here they're rejecting this like 666 level. So like it's just like once you have your key levels drawn and you have your market profile, it's like you can't predict where price is going to go, but it's really easy to explain why it did what it did. Do you know what I mean? You see it coming up.
Yeah, do your research.
Yeah, even there on the
Thank
open
you, mate.
today, no worries. Yeah, but even on the open today, you can saw DAX came down straight down to that key level, false break, came straight back up to the POC, and then started coming down again. So like you can't predict that it was going to do that, but it's very easy to explain what happened. You know,
After it did, I understand.
you had people buying at support, and then you had a load of trading volume around the POC. So now it's just a battle between bulls and bears. So yeah, I hope that explains it.
Yeah,
Right.
thank you, mate. That's very informative.
Cheers, Matt. We'll have to start the wind as we're just over the 20 minutes,
Yeah, no worries.
and we'll get you again hopefully next week if you want to do it.
Yeah, perfect.
Brilliant.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks
Cheers.
a lot,
you.
Matt.
Gentlemen.
Cheers.
Ladies, have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, bro.
Good, Matt.
I just went along the POC. Thanks. Held it, what, 4 or 5 times?
Nice to still
Did you
good.
enjoy that? That was good.
Yeah. I could keep talking. Yeah.
Well, it's also talking when the market is going, understanding it. And I said, you explained the PLC really well. When the PLC did eventually break,
Yeah.
it was the time to flip it.
Yeah.
So you want to stop the recording now?
Yeah, I stopped recording. Yeah.
It's got recording now on it. I don't know why.
Was it? Oh, sorry.